Let's talk more about poverty in China and broader trends around the world. I'm joined now from Boston by Arthur Holcombe. He's the founder and president of the Poverty Alleviation Fund. He was previously a resident coordinator of United Nations operational activities in China, so he knows a great deal about this. Well, the global trend it's more people facing extreme hunger in recent years. The opposite, though, in China, more people being lifted out of poverty and extreme hunger. What's been the secret in China, do you think?
The secret isn't really a secret. Xi Jinping recently announced that during the 13th five-year plan period ending in the year 2200, 70 million rural people in poverty-stricken areas would be raised out of poverty. There are now indications that he's well on his way to implementing those goals. It's a program that is very comprehensive in nature, focusing on administrative villages, some 1,200 administrative villages, particularly in the western and southwestern provinces of China, where the poverty is greatest and where residual poverty reduction has proved to be most difficult. It's a program that faces these problems, but the approach that's being taken is focusing in two broad directions. One, it's targeted assistance that local government officials are working on directly with the poor households identified as being still in poverty, and they work and continue to work together developing household strategies to lift these particular households out of poverty. At the same time, the government is promoting a broader area development strategy, trying to ensure that economic growth and agricultural productivity increase in these areas so that households can achieve greater income and food security. That program is going on, and money is available in many areas. I was recently in Tibet and happened to see the program being implemented there. It's challenging, the conditions are difficult, but nevertheless, a lot of progress is being made. In those cases where households don't actually have the capacity to improve agricultural conditions and achieve greater income security for themselves, the government also has a program to subsidize poor households, ones that lack the manpower or have disabilities of one sort or another and cannot feed their families. For these poor households, the government is subsidizing with food supplements and in other ways. But there's another interesting dimension to China's overall approach. And at the moment, it's taking place primarily in urban areas where the government is subsidizing the difference between income of poor households in urban areas and a level of income and security that is regarded as minimal but necessary for the urban poor to dig themselves out of poverty.
Arthur, let me ask you, because we've focused a lot on China, but I also want to get into the larger global issue, because, you know, China doesn't rely on international aid, as you know, and it's managed to lift 600, 700 million people out of poverty. Much of the world, though, does rely on international aid. 80% of the World Food Program's funds are going to conflict regions. So can you talk to us about the connection between conflict, hunger, poverty?
The broader question of poverty reduction in the world, the Third World world in particular, is a complex one. Obviously, there are areas where, due to drought, desertification, and other natural disaster situations, there's very little hope for people in those areas, and they are already migrating to other areas, and this is creating further conflicts. In other areas, there is human conflict going on. groups at war with each other. These are issues that will need to be addressed with support from the international community. And to some extent that's going on in countries of Africa, but as you know, what we're seeing now is a massive migration of people from these drought-stricken conflict areas northward into the northern shores of Africa and across into southern Europe and to Europe. This is a problem, and there doesn't seem to be any short-term solutions to it. More broadly, there has to be a commitment from the international community to help to ensure, to the extent possible, that these groups can be contained within their own countries, and with the types of assistance that provide immediate relief but need to be adapted so that they work towards longer-term rehabilitation and stability. In the longer run, it's going to be very important that these peoples are able to achieve greater income and food security in their own countries.
Yeah, there are no quick fixes, that's for sure. Arthur Holcombe joining us from Boston. Thanks so much.